We're talking about the direct perceptions, unmistaken and undilutedly, say, maybe sometimes undilutedly, like in the relatively through the sensory, mental self-awarenesses and yogis. And of course, sometimes dilutedly to perceive. But anyway, any kind of to perceive and the appearances directly, and at that moment there's no other thoughts to seeing that the object appear with the specific characteristics. That is we are need to analyze, to check out. And that is like kind of we are establishing. But sometimes you perceived two kind of thoughts or different coming into the front of your faculty sensories and the awareness or the yogis. Different aspect is difficult to establish. Which one is like you want? And maybe in the easily to say, and in the Pajina Paramatas, in the Buddhist philosophical stance, in order to establish the nature emptiness, if you understand one single contaminate object, the nature of the emptiness, that single contaminated the phenomena, and it gives you notion of the all any others varieties of the phenomena, the empty natures. And therefore, first time when we perceived directly, unmistaken, and from the sensory or the self-awareness, yogi, so on, mentally, that one is we are analyze. That is the we need to check, and that is the proof of the relative. And what we come to say that what is the relative? When we look just to image or the roughly, generally, to this temple, it's like okay temple, but how you can to describe? And temple is okay, it is the relatively temple, but you need to specific to fix, to catch one. And mental or sensories, it's like when you look at the blue, sometimes you can to look at the yellow, sometimes can you look at the red, and when you look at the first moment, that is the direct, clearly your appearances to perceiving. And when you look at the blues, that moment, of course, after you are like kind of exaggerated, yeah, I can to see at the same times, but it's a never. For example, when you look at the like direct, something there is, but this is just like kind of abstracted. There's no really, it's like focus. You cannot to analyze. But directly, clearly, and that one is we need to establishing. this each individual's specific characteristics. It's blue is when we look at the blue sky, or blue or the Vajra or the computers. Itself, nothing else, other thoughts, nothing other kind of the appearance, just that is preoccupied the mental or the faculties, and that we need to analyze. That is the relative truth. That is really is like kind of the focal object. We need to more analyze on that. It doesn't matter relate to the appearances or the inner the minds. And that is, and this direct, next verse, verse 19, without these direct perceptions, there would be no evidence. Evidence and the hands, no inferences. Hands forward. You know, it's hands sometimes different English words. Hands forward. Hands forward means if there's no direct perceptions, how we have the evidence of the inference? And inference, direct perception of smoke is not how we can to making the evidence hands forward, which is the inference, valid cognitions to know about the fire. The direct perception of the smokes, then is we have the inference, valid cognitions to understand we can establish the fire definitely, but we not yet see it. Hands forward, and after the signal, science or the proof, evaluation of these direct perceptions, now it is like I have inference, valid cognitions to recognize next one steps. According to the science of the today my body, speech, mind, tomorrow I have the hands forward. I understand next step also is like kind of similarities there. According to today's science, and today is like kind of the situations, a little bit roughly we can to describe, to say tomorrow should to be like this. Which kind of you have science, hands forward, or the relate to the inference perspective, how you can to say the forward of the tomorrow, because direct perception of the today. And today is the direct perception. According that, also you can to say on the a little bit on the past. Like Guru Rinpoche say, what you if you know about on the past, look at the present situations. What will you be happened next times? You look at your present actions. This is a kind of looking the present moment, present direct perceptions. It is a kind of the evaluation, or it is the proof, evidence. And any perception of the things arising from cause and then ceasing would become impossible. In the direct seeing of the appearances by the sensory, mental, or yogi, say through the dilutedly or undilutedly said. Mistakenly or the unmistakenly said. Maybe mistakenly we see the direct, for example, white conch, it will see the yellow conch. Maybe it is diluted, maybe we have something sickness in the bodies. The sensory faculties cannot to perceive what as the white, just to see the yellow or something. But whatever you see, direct perception, that is your evidence of the present, your situations. And according to that, then you establish phenomena. According to that, then you can to establish samsara and nirvanas, worldly or transcendent word. And that is like kind of the evidence. Henceforward, we can to say futures, maybe like this and that, roughly, and kind of we can to. And through the scriptures, the inference, valid cognitions, and inference phenomena are how we can to know about the inference phenomena through the inference valid cognitions, rely on the present direct valid cognitions to seeing the direct perceptions, then we can to describe. If present the direct appearances, not existence or something, then it's like there's no arousing the cause and that kind of dependency of the seed or the effect. Everything is impossible. And next word is saying, if what were the case, how would we ever understand them to be empty and so on, without relying upon the conventional? There can be no realization of ultimates. It is the wonderful thing. Direct perceived the perceptions, and on that then we need to perceive the inference of ultimate emptiness. And what we perceived directly, any kind of contaminate object, the phenomena, that is we are establishing into ultimate. If present relative truth, if not truly existence, if there's no kind of direct perceptions, how we can to establish or understand them, the phenomena, to be emptiness or impermanent, and to develop so many different aspects. Anyway, whatever we have appearances comes from the diluted or undiluted, directly to seeing, perceived, and that is we are analyze. It relatively is like this, but itself, it is yellow or white. Itself is how it is. This one itself, not kind of, not need to concern is like many. Sometimes we are thinking like this. When we're talking about computers, but thinking about the mandalas, then impossible to understand the computers. When we're talking about mandalas, but thinking about the computers, impossible. That is the method to saying is focus on object or subject. First, maybe object of the outer appearances to perceive the direct by your faculties. That one is that what you perceived, that is the relative appearances. That is we need to analyze, investigate on that. And we need to realize that emptiness, impermanent, and to essence, to need to realize that one's whatever seeing, perceives, not necessarily all the time perceive. Apprehenders perceives apprehended phenomena, dualistic way. Look at the apprehended appearances, varieties, limitless things. Each individual to establish impossible. Single object. We can to say symbolic, later even the inside, piece of the later us. Maybe head of the later maybe some in the part of that to see, direct perceive your faculties. Analyze on that. How is it appears? I'm seeing. That one is I'm seeing. It is relative. Seeing it. I'm seeing blue yellow green, which kind of? How it is unperceived. And that one is existent or no existence. And not need to thinking other things. This my focal object of these appearances, outer appearances, later are. Directly, focusedly on that. You understand that phenomena, single phenomena, then you refrain to all others. But then finally, outer appearances, and follow you. It is not truly existence. This is self-appearances. It's just like a rainbow, hallucinations. Why I need to chasing them? Disappeared. Apprehender. Apprehenders concerning what you concerning. What are you thinking? Finger itself. To perceive, to focus on that. I don't want to go more further. You can to research. That direct appearances moment we need to, that is the basis, that is the source of the how we can to realize the ultimate realities. Not without that, where is the come from ultimate? I'm going back to the questions here. This is direct perceived, the appearances. Itself is has own identities. These own identities, own nature, appears from itself, nothing else. This is the relate to the object or the subject. It doesn't matter. You don't need to talk about the dualistic way. Each object or subject, each individual itself. When we appear, look at the outer appearances, look at the blue eye, white eye, or croissant eye. bread or the camel as. Now I'm mad, okay? I want to stop there. This kind of the outer one single object, each individual, there is the no characteristics there. Lack of the wish there. Essence emptiness is the itself there's. You don't need to bring from the different aspect. Relate to the inner cognitive aspect. It's like same as that. Therefore, here is the sayings. From that, then we need to realization of the ultimate, fantastic. Good luck.